What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be briefly going over two separate fights I had in the same game on Shoreline. We're going to be touching on rotations, positioning, and how to use those to control a space or a fight. Alright, so how this is going to go is I'm going to give you guys context on the fights, and I'm going to let you guys watch through it. Then we're going to jump back and go over what I wanted to highlight. So, turning to the play-by-play, I grab cover when I get downstairs and I wait to see if they push into the resort. After a little while, when they don't push in, we decide to nade that corner and try to rotate around. One of them shoots at us from outside and we try to take a look for him, but we don't see him. However, this does confirm that they're at the bottom of the staircase or somewhere in that vicinity. We wait a minute to see if we hear him coming up and we decide to go pushing after them. However, because I went to the second floor and I rotated around, they don't seem to hear me when I run by. Although you would think they would be aware of me being up here. We swing onto the second guy because we did hear two distinct sets of footsteps, and we get a relatively easy cleanup. I think what happened is the guy didn't communicate to his teammate that he saw me running up the stairs, or maybe he just saw me run by and didn't see me go up the stairs, and that way he didn't know to be worried about me coming from the second floor. We're going to move on to the second fight now, where I'm going to let you guys watch it before I go over it again like this, but I also want to talk about some things that are present in both fights, so we'll be doing that after all of that. And now for the play-by-play. I hear them coming up the front of the resort, and I'm sure they heard me because even though I was just walking, I'm very overweight. I take up a position and try to catch one of them as he crosses into the front, going for the door to get in. We miss him as he crosses, and we rush to the door to try to maintain some position. He doesn't push past the corner, so we drop our backpack, and we throw a nade to stop his teammate from pushing up behind him. A lot happens here, so we're going to slow this down really quick. We dropped that nade in an attempt to separate the two people coming in case they weren't close together, but we don't know if we actually separated them. And because we didn't really have enough time to do that, now this guy sounds like he's pushing around the corner and we barely have our gun up. We initially start pre-firing and trying to stop him from taking the space, but we hear a nade fall behind us and we are forced out pushing after him. This wasn't a part of my plan, this isn't exactly what I wanted to do, this is just me trying not to die to a nade. We barely survive the nade and we pre-fire as we round the next corner, knowing that he has to be there. As soon as we kill him, we back off, we reset, we reload, and we get ready to take the second one. However, we are blocked by Tarkov's most skillful mechanic, the RNG simulator. I didn't pray to Nikita hard enough today, and my weapon malfunctioned because of it, almost murdering me. I begin to heal up, and I wait to see if this guy's going to push. Simultaneously as I start pushing, he throws a nade, which really limits the amount of space he can be in. So we pre-fire that corner, it's the only one that has an angled nade that far down the hallway, and then we check to make sure we've actually cleared everybody out. So now, we're going to look at both fights together, and look at some things that were similar between the both, and draw some conclusions and analyze those. The first thing to notice is both of these fights, my opponents were working with very limited and very unreliable amounts of space because I was holding both entrances to the resort. I'm not going to be drawing a map for this video, so we'll just say that both these entrances have a choke point to push through, and they have a constricted amount of area leading up to the choke, meaning even before the choke, you are confined in your ability to move around. Because of this design, it's very easy to hold these entrances, and you don't actually need a whole lot of threat or pressure to prevent people from wanting to push into these areas. For example, on this first fight here, just the mere idea that there might be more people inside, or that they don't know my exact location, prevents them from pushing into the other staircase, even though doing so would have freed up a lot of space and actually allowed them to get a much better and more even fight. Obviously, however, they don't and can't know that I'm alone, and that's just some of the issues of fighting with incomplete knowledge and why you need to take risks when doing fights. I'd also like to mention that I'm doing a lot of rotating, and even if I can't rotate to a completely different avenue of attack, I'm at least repositioning and trying not to be in the same spot so that I'm not more easily peekable. I didn't mention it during the brief overview of the fight, but I believe during the second fight, when I rotate back to the sanitar room after my gun malfunctions, that I actually should have gone behind the standing case, that way I could peek from the left or right and still maintain hold on that hallway. While it can be hard to tell through sound where somebody exactly is, if the guy outside knew that I retreated back into sanitar room, he actually could have pushed me by throwing a nade through the outside and then coming down the hallway. It would have forced me into a terrible position and a whole lot of other things you can speculate, but just off the top of my head, I believe that's one of the good counterplays they could have done. That also emphasizes why it's important not to be in the same spot more than once, because then they know where to look for you and where you might be. Even if I'm prepared enough that I'm not going to die to the nade, it forces me to move and gives him an audio profile on approximately where I'm at. Maybe he doesn't know exactly where I'm at, but he has a much better idea once the nade forces me to move than beforehand. Not to mention, if he's nading sanitar room because he knows I'm there, that's also going to force me out of position and allow him more control and space to push into the resort and work with. But Merrick, he did try to nade you, and you just kinda ran at him. Well, yes, but what had happened there was he naded blindly down the hallway, which didn't force me out of position and actually was timed alongside my push, so I was already closing the gap and the nade wasn't really a threat to me. So he really got caught out on that. That's about all I can go into now in a brief video without making it too long, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys check back for more videos and let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.